Hello everyone. So Arun has already given some introduction, but let me introduce myself. I'm Sushmita Mullick, and I have a total of 8 years of experience in software. I'm working as a technical lead in Aricent. So basically, I've come here to share with you about my MBA journey and how I actually got a admit from ISB. To be honest, I'm a pretty average student, so I guess I can relate to a lot of people over here. So probably you guys will benefit from what I'm going to say. So like any other MBA aspirant, I wanted to get into one of the best B schools, and uh, so I didn't know how to start with. I did a lot of research and had a lot of word with alums and word of mouth, and finally I enrolled into CrackVerbal's online course. So as again, like Priyadarshini said, some things work for. There are certain things that work for, certain people. For me, the classroom was the best because uh, after working for 8 years and in no touch with studies, it actually helped me get back to the student mode. So I actually felt like I'm student. It made me feel I'm younger. I'm old, but it made me feel I'm younger. And it actually instilled a lot of, discipline in me. The kind of peer group that I encountered at CrackVerbal, the kind of people who were coming from such good organizations like Flipkart, Amazon, and IITians, BITians. So me being a pretty average student, I was sorted that I need to stand apart in the crowd. I need to work very hard, and that's from where the determination came from. So I used to bug the faculties like anything. If I'm not able to do something, I'll just go to them and I'll approach them. So there are certain pointers that worked for me during my GMAT preparation. So firstly, Arun used to always emphasize in the class that that always go for official resources, and that's what I abided by strictly. I only solved official guide questions and VRs and QRs. And one more thing is that if you're practicing from the official questions, the number of questions, the inventory of the official questions is limited. You don't have a lot of them. So my aim was not to hurriedly just traverse through all the questions. Rather, I spend a lot of time in analysis. I spend a lot of time in each of the questions. So even if I used to get a question right, I would look up to the OG. And mostly I didn't used to be very satisfied with the explanation. I would go to GMAT club, look for that particular question, look like whatever answers people have given. And when you get a lot of perspectives on how to solve a question, it increases your knowledge base and you get a certain level of confidence. And that's what I think helped me a great deal. Secondly, CrackVerbal had provided us around 1,500 questions, the GMAT official questions. They were previous year's GMAT questions, and I actually solved all of them before I took my GMAT. Another one thing is that I never wanted to lose touch. So every day, I had a very hectic schedule at work. Like I used to slog for 12, 13 hours, but still I made a point that I should be spending at least 30 minutes every day for my GMAT preparation because I never wanted to lose touch. So that is another thing. And I took my mocks very seriously. I gave all the 6 mocks that CrackVerbal, all the official mocks. And after every mock, I used to do a thorough analysis, like what went bad, what went good, what is my forte, what are my weaknesses. I worked a lot on them. And being from an engineering background, I was good in maths, but verbal was something that I really needed to work upon. And I spent a lot of time on that. And last but not the least, I would say that GMAT is a mind-boggling thing. Basically, it just plays with your mind. So you need to keep cool. These are the things that I followed. And when I took my GMAT, after 7 months of intense preparation, me being a very average student, I needed that much of time. So after 7 months of intense preparation, I scored a 720. So I was pretty okay with that. Then I started with my application journey. I was focused that I'll apply for ISB because I want to settle and work in India. So ISB seems the best option to me. I started writing my own essays because I was pretty confident that, I can write essays. What's the big deal? I'll write it myself. And I was pretty content the way my essays were shaping up. And then there was this, the CrackVerbal, they were organizing a workshop for the ISB applicants for the essays. So I thought, just let's give it a shot. I was anyways confident that, my essays are great. I just wanted to validate what I've written. So this workshop was being conducted by Arun and Anvesha, and it actually gave a lot of insight, like what exactly are the AdCom members, are the interviewers expecting from the essays, like what kind of things that you are supposed to write. It should bring out the uniqueness in you and the clarity that you have for your goals, that also should be reflected. And I understood that boss main to gayi, matlab, my essays are not at all sufficient to woo the AdCom. So after the workshop gets over, I go to Arun and I say that, look, I need your help. I don't think this is working. Then it's okay. So just to emphasize on the date, the application deadline for ISB was on 15th of Jan, and this is on 12th of Jan. So I go to him and I tell him, look, I don't think my essays are good enough, so I need your help. Then he's saying, oh, what are you saying? It's because he was like very confused looking at me like, okay, I mean, it's only 2 days left. You think you'll be able to, what if there's a lot of changes? I said, I'll do whatever it takes to fetch that interview call, but you've got to help me out. I was like, you have to help me out. And then finally, I'm very happy that Arun agreed to do that at such a short notice. And then 14th of January, which is just a day before the deadline, Arun calls me up at 10 o'clock and says, what have you written? This needs an entire metamorphosis. I said, okay, I'll do it. So for the next couple of hours, we are discussing, like Arun is giving me guidelines, so you have to change this, you have to change that. Basically, I have to change the entire thing. This is 14th night, 12 o'clock, and 15th is the deadline. So post midnight, I start working. The whole night, I'm working on the essays. 11 a.m., I submit my essays to Arun. And that's a deadline day. I can see WhatsApp messages. We had a WhatsApp group, so people are submitting, essays and all, and everyone's done everything. And I am still waiting, like, I don't know what's going on. Then finally, Arun hands me over the essays at 4 o'clock, and it actually came out really good. I mean, when I saw the essay, I was like, okay, okay, fine. I was like relaxed. Then I submit my application. And then it's again like 1.5 months of excruciating wait. And me being the kind of patient I am, like, it's like people are getting, so for ISB, the interview doesn't happen, like, it's not that everyone gets an interview call in a day. It's a rolling process. The whole month you get, and then I'm like, keep badgering Arun, I'm not getting calls. Arun said, be patient, you will. And then finally I get that call, that much coveted call. And but then again, the next phase is the interview, and I'm again clueless about it, what to do. So I again approached CrackVerbal for their help. So basically a panel face-to-face interview is conducted with ISB and IMB alums. And it was a nerve-wracking interview, very stressful one. And I did say some things, very folly things, I guess. And to be candid, it didn't go that great for me. And yeah, but I got really good feedbacks. Like, I knew that, yeah, these are my weak points. So one thing is that I jumped to answering something without listening to people. So, so what happened, someone asked, one of the alum asked me something, and I jumped to answering, and then in the midway, I forgot what the question was. And whatever you say, it has to be very well researched. So you cannot fall into the trap. So this is something that I was said that you cannot fall into the trap. For instance, Arun had asked me in the interview that what have you done in the last year. So I said that I have not got a lot of time because I was busy preparing for the interviews and all. For my GMAT. So I didn't get a lot of time, but I read something on some articles. Then Arun is like, what articles? And I said artificial intelligence. And then he started grilling me on that. Okay. So I didn't read a lot of artificial intelligence stuff to, answer. So then I understood that this is not going to work. I have to say things which I'm very confident about. I just can't say things, whatever comes into my mind. So anyways, I was again very worked up because 2 days were left for my actual ISB interview. And I thought that I'm not going to make it. Then I again badgered Arun that this is not working out. I'm very low on my morale. And he told me that, listen, you have got a feedback. You need to strictly adhere to it. We can't make a radical change now. We don't have much time, but you need to strictly adhere to the feedback, and I rigorously worked on the feedback. Like I was constantly practicing answers and in front of the mirror, and and one more bad habit I have is that I don't complete a sentence and I go to the next sentence, assuming that people will understand things, what I want to say. So this is all the things that I had to improve on, and I really worked like, around 17, 18 hours I was working only for the interview for the next 2 days. And then one thing that Arun told me that actually helped me was that I have a very strong emotional quotient, and generally I'm able to form a good connect with people. So he told me just use it to your advantage, and with this you should be able to connect with the interviewers, and you should be able to engage with them in the conversation. So I kept in mind, and my interview actually went pretty well, because I had actually I had worked on my flaws and I could understand the difference. So it helped me out a great deal. My interview went pretty good, and I was like, okay, I have done well. I have done quite well. And then again, the excruciating wait, and given the patient person I am for the next 15 days, and then the result comes out on 5th of March, and yes, I've got the ticket to ISB. I'm very, very happy. So here I would like to mention certain points that worked for me, was that you need to be very self-aware. Like, I know as a person, I've done a lot of introspection, like what are my, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and how ISB is going to help me overcome those weaknesses. For example, I don't have a lot of management skills. I mean, I do manage a team, but not a lot of strategic decisions I take. So this is one of the weaknesses that I have, and I know that ISB, I will get some opportunity to work on this. So, and then I know what my strengths are. I am very, very clear on my goals. In ISB, in fact, when I said I want to do product management, and I was very adamant on it, and like I have seen LinkedIn profiles, I've done a lot of research, I've attended product school meetings and all. At the last, they were like bound to say it's okay. I mean, you just keep your mind open. Don't just have an attitude like a horse. You can actually expand your horizon, and you can look into other possibilities as well. I mean, I was that adamant. I mean, not adamant, but yeah, this is what I actually wanted to do. So this is, I think, this is what worked for me. Like, I want to do product management. I've done a lot of research. I know what I want to do post MBA. What are the companies that I want to get into post MBA? So yeah, this worked for me. And last but not the least, I would like to say that in order to get into a sought after B school like ISB, you need to have a very apt guidance, and I actually got that guidance from Arun and CrackVerbal team, and I would sincerely like to thank them for all the help and support. Without them, probably it wouldn't have been possible.